What's good YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to create this background fading out transition inside After Effects. I'm going to be fading out the background of the first layer in order to create this seamless transition from the first scene into the second scene, as well as creating an additional effect in order to really tie this entire transition together. So make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, and let's get right into it. So here in After Effects, I have these two clips playing from a 21 Savage and a Metro Boomin music video. And what I'm going to do in order to get started is I'm going to double click the layer with our subject in it, and I'm going to rotoscope our subject out. So make sure to grab the roto brush tool and make sure that you're in the layer. And what I'm going to do is just rotoscope my subject out. And for those that don't know, in order to make your brush bigger, you hold the control button and you left click and you drag your mouse and it makes it smaller or bigger. And in order to get rid of any unwanted areas, hold the alt button and then left click and you just drag over and it gets rid of the unwanted areas. So I'm going to rotoscope my subject. After rotoscoping, you want to go frame by frame just to make sure that your subject has been accurately rotoscoped. And once you're done checking that, you want to make sure to click the freeze button. And what that does is just locks in the subject that we rotoscope. After clicking the freeze button, you want to then go back into the composition. And here we have our rotoscope layer. And what I'm going to do is decrease the shift edge, and I'm going to have it at -60, and I'm going to increase the feather to 8, and that smoothens out the edges of our subject. After rotoscoping, we're going to duplicate this layer and bring that layer underneath, and we're going to get rid of the roto brush effect for that layer in order to show the background. And what I'm going to do is change the name of this layer from 21 to 21BG, and the BG stands for background. We're going to then grab these two layers and bring it over the other one, because in order to create this transition, we're going to want the first layers to be overlapping with the second layer or the second scene. And what I'm going to do is grab the second layer I'm going to be transitioning into, and I'm going to be moving that back 20 frames. Make sure to go where the cut happens from the first scene into the second scene. In order to move back 20 frames, we're going to hold down the shift button and click the page up button. So we're going to go back 20 frames, 10, 20. And we're going to grab the second scene or the second layer and drag that back 20 frames. And then I'm just going to trim the comp. And because we're creating this background fading transition, what we're going to do is go into the background layer of the first layer, and we're going to be keyframing the opacity. So make sure to click your layer and click T on your keyboard in order to reveal the opacity. And what we're going to do is keyframe the opacity at 100% in the beginning of the second layer. And then we're going to go 10 frames forward, hold shift and click page down. And then we're going to keyframe the opacity at 0. Make sure to grab those keyframes and easy ease them, and then go into the graph editor. And then I'm going to have it animate slow in the beginning, and then it animates out fast. This is what we have so far. So we can see that there's this smooth fade out for the background. And then we're going to keyframe the opacity of our rotoscope layer, which is the top layer. And then we're going to keyframe the opacity at 100% from where the background fades out. Then we're going to go forward 4 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then keyframe the opacity at 0%. Grab those keyframes, easy ease them, and then go into the graph editor, and we're going to create a similar graph as the background layer. And then we're going to add an effect called exposure, which adds more energy to this transition. I'm going to keyframe the exposure at 0 in the beginning and go forward 2 frames, which is the middle, 1, 2, and keyframe the exposure at 3, and then go towards the end and keyframe it back to 0. Grab those keyframes, easy ease them, and go into the graph editor. And then I'm going to create a graph where it animates in slowly, and it goes fast, and it goes slow again. So it goes slow and then fast and then slow. And this is what we have so far. And adding that flash effect just makes it look even better. And for our final effect, what we're going to do is add a camera lens blur to the next scene or the second layer. And what we're going to do is keyframe the blur radius at 20 in the beginning, and then make sure to click your layer and click U to reveal the keyframes. And then we're going to go towards the end and make the camera blur radius 0. Grab those keyframes and easy ease them. And what that does is it focuses on our subject, and then as our subject fades out or flashes out, the second layer comes into focus. So it just creates that depth from the foreground, which is our subject, and the background, which is the second layer. And then once our foreground layer, which is in this case 21 Savage, fades out, the background layer then comes into focus. So it's just little details like that that can really make an effect or a transition look even better. This is what we have for our final transition. If you guys found this video helpful, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.